Writer's Dream. This is a show where authors are able to talk about how they write their books, how they publish their books, and how they market their books. You can find us on Facebook. Just look for The Writer's Dream. You can find many of our authors on the Facebook page, but if you'd like to be on the show, message me through the Facebook page. We are also on the LTV website. Just go on the website and click on videos. We are broadcast all over Long Island, east of East Hampton. We're on channel 20, but you have to look up the schedule because since I don't live there, I don't know what it is. But west of East Hampton, I'm on channel 20. The Writer's Dream is on channel 20 on Friday at 3 o'clock. We're also on YouTube. Just search my name, Linda Maria Frank, click on my picture, and you will find over 100 interviews with local authors. Long Island has a lot of talent, and if you're interested in writing, reading good books, local talent, this is the place for you to go. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce today's guest, Janet Rudolph, who I have a little quote here from somebody, from Rachel Pollack, and she is described as an outlaw scholar of the best kind. And she's also, this woman has the most fascinating life. She is also the author of, and that's her featured book today, Desperately Seeking Persephone, the true story of my shaman journey through the underworld. She's also the author of One God, the Mystic Pagan's Guide to the Biblical One God. Let's see, One God, the Mystic, yes, we have that one. I'm sorry. When Eve was a goddess and when Moses was a shaman. So, Janet, this is fascinating. Tell me what a shaman is.
That's a really good question, and there's a lot of definitions, but I have several that I really like, and I think my favorite would be is a mediator of relationships between human and earthly beings, earthly matters, and heavenly or spiritual or divine matters, between a person and themselves, between different people, just a coming together of how people relate to all different aspects of life.
What's the source of the shaman? What culture did shaman?
Well, the word shaman comes from a Siberian, but it's been used so much in New Age that it's a little hard to really focus on one individual definition or understanding of it. But basically, it's people of the earth, people who understand the earth as the cycles. So you look at this, we look at the cycles of the seasons, the cycles of the stars, the cycles of weather, the cycles of how the earth moves, the cycles of the moon. And we look at all these cycles and how they affect us and how we can harmonize with them.
Yeah, a lot of people think that we've lost sight of all of that. We've lost sight of our connection to the natural world.
Yes.
And I think that's very true. From my own experience, my happy place is my garden.
Ah.
And the jobs I love.
That'll teach you about cycles, won't it?
Yeah, well,
you
want to see my spider bite? But I had a job once as a volunteer gardener in Central Park. It was the best job I ever had because I was digging in the dirt. I was with the earth and I was very happy. So, no cell phone, no computer. Yes, that's true.
And our body cycle as well. Certainly we know how the female body, but even male bodies as well, because we're affected by the tides and the waters of the earth. So when we're in touch with our bodies, we can be more in touch with ourselves and how we function in the world.
Yeah, well, I think that's something that people should take some time out to investigate. What got you started on your journey? First of all, explain a little bit, well, not a little bit, just explain where you've been, what you've learned. I mean, you have a fascinating journey.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it was really my own healing. I had actually had a very violent childhood.
Oh.
And so when I became of an adult age, I just set off into the world because I'm like, there has to be ways to heal. And lo and behold, not only have I found healing, but I had adventures that I thought were pretty exciting. And that's what I started to write, is I wanted to understand them better for myself. And then I see them also as a template, the pilgrimage, the quest, the journey. It's a way that human beings learn and function. And these stories are mythic stories that speak to us on so many levels. So when I found I was having my own mythic story, I wanted to share it so that others can help others find what their mythic stories are.
Well, what were some of the places that you visited and what did you learn?
What did I learn is a really good question. It's easy. The places I visit, I've been to Greece. I've been to the Greek mystery schools, which are in Eleusis and Delphi. I've been to Egypt, which had an even older mystery school. And mystery schools were basically the ancient ways that people came to understand the meaning of life.
Uh-huh.
It was in Delphi above the Apollo's temple, it says, know thyself, know they say acton, know thyself. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yes.
And I've been to Brodgar in Scotland and Avebury in England, and I've been to Machu Picchu and on and
And
on
also
and
in
on.
Israel, you had some interesting
Yes,
experiences in Israel.
yes, I was in Israel as well. I did an Ulpan there,
What's
where I
that?
not studied, but I worked the land in Israel, which was it's a very, very beautiful. You can see why it's the focus of some of the world's great religions, because it is just such a beautiful and deep place to be. And one of the things I've learned is there really is this well of knowledge, or this understanding of a basic understanding of humanity and life. But because of the land is different and the cultures are different, it grew up differently in different places. So that you have this tapestry, it's a shame that we fight over this, because it's this beautiful tapestry
Mhm.
where one place it grows up in one direction, in the desert, where there's rainforest, it grows up differently, but yet it holds within it the same knowledge and the same beauty of the cycles of life.
Yeah, that's and you investigated something about the origin of Hebrew words.
Yes, well, I don't have that in my Persephone book. I have that in my when Eve was a goddess and when Moses was a shaman. But yes, the Hebrew is really based on Egyptian hieroglyphics, and Egyptian hieroglyphics are pictures.
Yes.
So that when you look at so you basically have picture puzzles. So what I look at is how so much beauty was translated out that we don't really get it when we read the translations. And just my elevator pitch, or the most simple one that I talk about, is Eve, and her name in Hebrew is life, because Adam says, and I named her Eve because she is the mother of all living. So her name is life. And the name of the tree in the Garden of Eden that she is forbidden to eat from is the tree of life.
Yes. Mhm.
And in Hebrew, it's named after her. That's Chaim. It's her tree, basically. So, and I always want us to think about what if that was our foundational knowledge of life? What if this was a gift freely given from Eve, the gift of life, from her body, the body of she was a great goddess in the Levantine section, in that section of the world. So what if that was the original knowledge and the foundation of our society, that not a curse, but this was a gift given to us? How would our lives be different?
Yes, how would the perception of women and their role of women be different? Uh,
Yeah.
in all of these studies you've done, what's the commonality? What's the common message that you find amongst the Egyptians and the Babylonians and the Hebrews and all of these people, the Greeks?
These are great questions you're asking,
Yeah,
and I love it.
I'm looking for the meaning of life.
Right. Yeah, I think it's all about the quest, because I think it's what we need to discover for ourselves. Like, everybody's journey is different and unique, and yet so important to the whole. And as you might go to Egypt and just be drawn to the pyramids, or you might go to South America and be drawn to the pyramids there, that everybody's pathway is different. And yet it's part of this incredibly beautiful tapestry of life. And the more we can personally harmonize with it, the more connected we feel. I would say the happier we feel, the more that we feel that we belong and understand who we are and what we want to be doing in life.
All right. So tell us about Persephone. Who is Persephone?
So Persephone was a Greek goddess, and her mother was Demeter. And the myth pretty much is that she gets kidnapped by Hades and is taken to the underworld. And there she is held captive, some would say raped even. But through her own journeys, she becomes queen of the underworld. And then Demeter, her mother, fights to get her to come back. And she comes back finally, but with a lot of drama. And she's eaten 6 pomegranate seeds. And because she's eaten these seeds, they say, okay, you can only spend 6 months with your mother in the overworld, but you have to go back 6 months to the underworld. So it's given as a seasonal story of why we have seasons. So when she's in the underworld, Demeter is sad and depressed, and it's winter time. And when she's back, it's spring and things are growing. And for me, the reason I titled my book Desperately Seeking Persephone is that it's told in almost loving detail how she goes to the underworld, but there's not a whole lot how she gets out other than that Demeter fights for her. And it's like, I need to know what that means. How did she get out of the underworld? Because like emotionally, I felt I was in an underworld situation. And I said, how did she get out? What is the secret of her getting out of the underworld and becoming queen of the underworld, no less? And so that's what my journey is, and that's what I write about in Desperately Seeking Persephone.
And how did she? Feminine wild.
Well, okay, nobody has to read my book now, but I think the secret's in the seeds. And notice she eats pomegranate seeds. And I don't think we leave the underworld so much as we go one place or we go the other place. I think we grow. I think like a seed in the ground in the darkness, the seed grows roots deeper into the darkness, and that allows the shoots, the newborn shoots of life to shoot up out of the earth. So I think we transform what the underworld is in our lives.
Yeah, well, we best do that, right? It would be a good idea for us to do that. Otherwise, we're stuck. Yeah. There's a whole history through all cultures of journey myths. Gilgamesh and the Iliad and all of those journey myths of people,
Arthur and all of those.
The Arthurian legend, and people going out and seeking whatever it is they're seeking. And what do they find at the end?
And it's so integral to the human spirit and the human soul. So we're drawn to these stories. That's why, like, Persephone's lasted how many thousands of years, and all these stories, they speak to us on so many levels.
Yes, definitely. What about the other books? What about Moses as a shaman? I'm fascinated by that.
So Moses is just such an interesting character. His name actually has several different meanings. In the Bible, the Pharaoh's daughter draws him out of the water and says, I've named him Moses because I've drawn him out of the water. And Moses in Hebrew does mean to draw out. But Moses has another meaning in Egyptian, son.
Son like the sun, or sun like a
S-U-S-O-N, the sun. Yeah, so for example, you'll find Pharaoh's names like Tutmos, and Hebrew uses roots. So Moses is M-S-H-S, Moshe.
Yeah, that's right.
Tutmos is the root, is the son of Tut.
Okay.
And Ramses is the MSS, the son of Ra, which is the sun.
Mhm.
So Moses, the name Moses actually means son. And where else have we seen in other religions that a son
Yes.
becomes a great religious leader?
Exactly. Yes, one of the major religions has that, I think.
Yes.
So, what message would you like your readers to get out of your books?
I would like to encourage everybody to take their own journey, whatever that means for them, because it can mean something different. It can mean going into a garden and getting a job. It can mean setting off into the world and heading to exotic spots. It can mean entering into a relationship. But how can I say this? We may feel vulnerable when we take risks,
Mm,
because when we take risks, we have to step out of our comfort zone.
yes, true.
That's where we find our gifts, our
Yeah,
treasures.
that's true. So that's your message. Step out of that comfort zone. Take that journey. It's true. It's very true. And so much of our culture is against that. It's stay safe, stay at home.
Right.
We're
Yes.
doing that, I think, to our kids a lot. Stay at home with your cell phone.
Yeah.
That's a journey in itself, that cell phone. How's your journey changed your life?
That's good. Another good question. It's transformed my life. I'm a completely different person. My family of origin was just so dysfunctional. I didn't really know how to have relationships with people.
Mhm.
And even in the early days of my marriage, with my husband, we're now married over 40 years. Like, so I can tell you the ending, or not hopefully not the ending, but where we are to now. But we didn't communicate well. Neither of us did. But through this process, I've really learned how to communicate, and how we can relate to each other in a loving manner, even when we have something challenging to say. And we've both grown through that process tremendously.
Yeah, I
And
would think so. Yeah.
one of the tenets that I've learned, and I love this, is the three things: baby eyes, true talk, flower heart. And the baby eyes means that you look at life every day. And have you ever seen like a baby's eyes that are like glowing, everything's new, exciting? To cultivate that in our own lives. True talk is you don't have to say everything that's on your mind, but when you speak truth, your own truth. And then flower heart, you do it with an open and loving heart.
Well, that's a good philosophy.
Yes,
One would only hope that more of us could. I think what prevents people from doing those things is fear.
I agree.
There's a lot of fear that we all experience. Fear of rejection, fear of not succeeding, fear of the other.
And
Yeah,
that's the stepping out of the comfort zone. The
yeah.
hardest one for me was the true talk. And the reason it was hard is when you face violence, especially when you're really young,
Mhm.
it's really dangerous to have a different truth than your abusers have.
Yeah,
So you learn not to speak your truth. And as you practice not speaking your truth, you forget what your truth is. And that's been for me. And even to this day, sometimes I struggle with it. What is my truth? If I'm going to speak truth, what does that mean for me?
yeah, truth
And
involved.
sometimes when people challenge me or ask really good questions, I have to like step back and go, I have to think about that, because I don't always know right
Right.
off the
And
top of my head.
I think as children, we're always trying to be approved of, and so it's a lot of hard work to make yourself disappear, so that you're not punished. You're not, there's no violence towards you. Children who live in an environment like that, they spend so much time trying to disappear that it's very hard to do those things that you're talking about. So yeah, those are skills that it would be really great to learn. So what was the best part of your journey and your writing?
I have to say the role of magic, things that happened to me were magical. I don't think I'm unique in that. I think if we turn our attention to some of the magic of the universe, we draw it to us. And so, so many incredible magical things happened to me, including interesting people that I met and people I ran into. And in fact, one of the reasons I started writing the book is 1977. I don't know, do the math. That's more than 40 years ago. I know. I started running into people and events started replaying from 1977, like a couple of years ago. I was like, what's going on? In fact, one of my roommates from that year, who I still to this day don't remember, contacted me. And it was just such a magical, and what was so magical about it for me is I was a very young adult in 1977. And the fact when I write about her in my book, I call the chapter Random Harvest, because in that movie and in the book, a man loses his memory, and his wife, who loves him so much, holds these memories till he's ready to reclaim them, basically. And this woman, this friend who found me through another friend from Ecuador, no less, found me, said, I feel like she held memories because I was so traumatized. There were just things I couldn't remember. And she held these memories for 40 plus years until I was ready to reclaim them.
That's a gift. That's truly a gift.
It's such a gift.
Yeah. So what did you do with those memories?
I wrote a book.
That's the spirit. That's what we do. We write books. What's your
But
definition?
I also just learned to really look for mystery and to appreciate and feel gratitude for it.
All right, you have to define some terms. What's magic?
Okay. What is magic? Magic is what we don't expect. Magic is something that we can't see the processes. So when a seed sprouts, that can be magic. When a rainbow shows in the sky, that can be magic. When we meet somebody from 40 years ago, that can be magic.
The unexpected. The good
Mhm.
unexpected. Can magic be bad?
Well, I don't like to put things into those categories because a lot of times, like for example, I don't know that I would say, oh, for to have a full happy life, be traumatized. That's not certainly a path I would recommend. However, the gifts that I got from going through the things I went through, which could be easily classified as bad, I wouldn't give up for the world. So to putting things in a good or bad category is just not something.
Yeah,
that
I agree with you. I can relate to that. That things that at the time seemed very traumatic, when I look back at them, I say to myself, I'm so glad I went through that because I learned this lesson or that lesson. And no pain, no gain. Is that the mantra?
Well, again, I think there are other ways to do it. Go ahead.
Why do you write?
I feel such a calling to share this material because I think it's so important and so special and so filled with treasure.
Well, I would have to say the journey that you took and the knowledge that you gained from it, first of all, is absolutely fascinating. And second of all, there's a lot of lessons in those. So we have a couple of minutes, and usually I ask two questions. So I'll start with one of them, and if we have time, we'll do both of them. Janet,
Go for it.
what else would you like to say? Did I
Tell you
leave
what,
anything out?
I'll give you one of my other elevator pictures because I think you'll really relate to this.
Good.
At the beginning of creation in the Bible, God is separating. But the deity separates light and dark, male and female, heaven and earth. And when we think about this separation, we think about it as a wall coming down that never the twain shall meet. But the word used is bedel, and it's the three-letter root of BDL. And B in the hieroglyphics, looks like the center of a labyrinth. And it actually means house in Hebrew. And it's all things of the earth, because in a labyrinth, that spiraling motion is the
Mhm.
womb of the great goddess, the birth canal of the great goddess, and all things come to earth. The L at the end of Bedel, BDL, is a shepherd's staff, and it's come to represent God because God guides us. So it's all things heavenly. And what's in between, but B and L, is the letter Dal, and Dal means door. And not just any door, it's a tent door, which swings in both directions.
Ah,
So when separation was created, it wasn't separated such that it was never the twain shall meet. It was separated more like a yin yang, that the movement continued.
that's excellent. That's
How
great.
does that change our way of looking at the world?
Yes, yeah, we need some changes. We definitely need some changes. What's next?
And actually I'm working on biblical translations,
Mhm.
again, based on these ancient hieroglyphics, and it's absolutely beautiful poetry in the Bible. And some of it has been translated beautifully, but some of it, again, has gotten lost in translation. So I'm going back, and then I want to do it as an art book. Like I have two friends who are like extraordinary artists. So when I do a passage or a translation, I like it to be beautifully illustrated.
I look at the Bible, and I don't want to say anything that's going to get me into trouble, as what's the book behind the book?
Wow, that's exactly
What's
what I do. What's
behind the
the
book?
book?
And
Oh my
where is
goodness.
all the stuff that they left out?
Yes.
And why
Because
did what got put in get put in?
because these were all oral teachings, that had to be written down. And so they were thousands of years old already, or before they were written down.
Exactly. This
Can you
is
imagine
another show. This is another show.
in English, we're still fighting over the meaning of words. So
Yes, but we have to come back to this. But thank you so much for being a guest. You were fascinating. Someday I'm going to get to one of those LII meetings and sit down and we'll have a real talk. So thanks again.
Hey,
It was great.